Welcome, everyone. It is 5 o'clock on Monday, March 2nd, 2026. This is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape Girardeau. We thank you all for being here. Tonight, as always, we will begin with our invocation. Tonight's invocation is by Pastor Daniel Seabaugh of LaCroix Church here in Cape Girardeau, and we will follow that with our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you all can, please join us and rise.
Okay, so yes, on behalf of pastors all over this city, I just want to say it's an honor for us to serve our city and our council in this way, to come pray. So thank you for the opportunity. Okay, let's pray. Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you that we have breath in our lungs and hearts that beat because you're good and make it so. Lord, we're grateful for creation and the gift of living in embodied community. We know you're the creator of good things and you desire good things for all you've created. So Lord, as we discuss the various happenings of this great place we call home, Cape Girardeau, we ask for your blessing upon the agenda and everyone who lives here, visits, or passes through. May you bless them and keep them. Help us be a hospitable community to all who have needs. God, and I know many times we'll come to different conclusions on what's best for this great city, but I pray that even when and where we disagree, that we'll place the value and dignity and worth of each person before our own opinions. I pray we disagree in respectful and gracious ways, not dividing or accusing or cutting others down. For every single person in this room and in this city is loved by you. They're valuable. Whether they know that or believe that or even claim you as God, Lord, you love them and you gave them life and you desire their good. And God, I want to pray a special blessing upon our council members and their families. Would you bless them and keep them? Would you make your face shine upon them and be gracious to them? Would you give them your peace? Help them, Lord, remember that it's you they're serving, and give them servant hearts, Lord, that they'd be willing and able to lay their own agendas down for the good of this great city and the people who call it home. So it's in the name of Jesus that we pray and ask all these things. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Well, tonight we're going to begin with a study session given by Jenny Smith with the Cape Girardeau County Transit Authority, talking to us about the program called Safe Return.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to everyone this evening. I will begin. So what is Safe Return? Obviously, this was a program that started with a conversation a few months ago with the Chief of Police, the co-responder unit, myself, and some others, that we have come to realize that there are a lot of people that get to Cape that are stranded, whether that be from walking away from treatment programs or just ending up here. So this was a brainstorm of an idea in the with the co-responder unit to create something. So myself and a couple others have developed what we call Safe Return. It reduces repeat service calls, lowers the pressure on jail capacities, it strengthens discharge planning, and provides officers with a tool that they can use later on. Obviously, Safe Returns building on the work that's already happening within our community by the officers, facility, and service providers. So we're going to kind of talk about, we faced some structural challenges here in Cape Girardeau itself. There is no homeless shelter. Camping is prohibited within inside city limits. Individuals often are discharged from hospitals and released from jails without stable local supports. We don't have places for these individuals to go, so they end up homeless on the city streets. So without coordination, it puts a lot of extra stress on our police department, obviously our ERs, our jails, repeated visits and things along those lines. And of course, then we're left to absorb that cost as a city and an organization or the other organizations. So we looked as we were having these conversations on what can we do to help unburden that and get these individuals back to supports, because that's where they want to be, obviously, anyway. So Safe Return was developed to provide a structured alternative when verified support systems exist outside of our jurisdiction. How it works. So it's pretty simple. It's a referral process, and we take it from there, is what we like to say. So it's legitimately just that. Myself and Georgia Rogers of Labors of Love, we pretty much, after the request is put in place from the law enforcement or the hospital, service provider, whatever it is, they make the referral. We do some verification. So that becomes we don't want to just send people back without a support system there for them, because they're going to end up having problems again eventually anyway. We work on a coordination. Then at that point, it becomes, we put them on the Greyhound bus. Do we get them to an Amtrak station? Do we get them to just a Lyft or an Uber, or sometimes it's just simple as providing a fuel card for them to get where they need to go, because they do have a vehicle. We make that connection with their outside support system, and then within 48 hours of their arrival, we follow back up with them and say, hey, did you arrive safely there? Is everything going okay? Because that's kind of that whole package. We want to make sure that they understand that we weren't just the bus ticket to get them out of Cape. We were that support, getting them back to the support that they needed. So obviously, we don't provide transportation, like I said, without a verifiable support system. Sometimes that is another treatment facility. Sometimes that is a caregiver. They have to be willing to participate in the program. We're not sending them if they're against their will or impaired. Again, we don't want to just relocate without oversight. It's definitely a structured concept. So program activities. So this conversation started in the end of September, first part of October, and by November, Safe Return was already created. So in the time that we have been in doing this, we've had 45 referrals, and 33 of those have been successfully returned to a support system where they can get what they need. The majority of those individuals were non-county residents, meaning they were not citizens of Cape Girardeau County at all. 10 were previously they left from treatment facilities, so they would be considered like they walked away from a facility here. And then 6 of those, of the 45, we were unable to locate because they don't have a working phone or any other option. So let's talk about cost. So that number up top is pretty dramatic. So when you look about what that is, the average person cost between an ER visit, if they end up in jail because they've been arrested for trespassing or some other charge, or even more if they need a mental health stays. An average cost to the public is $27,000 per person. So alone in those 33 individuals, we've saved this city roughly, or these organizations roughly $900,000 by just having those conversations, getting them back to support systems. What that has actually cost our program is under $2,900. So a conversation, a bus ticket, making those connections was a lot less of a burden. So currently, we have received a grant for $15,000 that we're working with, but it first started with $1,000 from a private donor that believed in what we could do for the city, and they took the chance. So as you can see, we are doing very little with no dedicated funding and no dedicated staff position. So I do this on top of being the director for the Transit Authority, as well as Georgia, who has another job
all your free
outside
time?
of this too. That's right. Everyone always asks, do you have a free time? I'm like, I don't have free time. But obviously, an example of a success story, and I feel like this is kind of important to realize that this just happened last week. We had an individual that ended up actually at the Transit Authority there and was from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and he had been homeless for 48 hours. Walked away from the facility with under $150. He was back home to his family in Lake Charles, Louisiana. So without coordination, likely outcomes would have been a repeat emergency contact, jail stays, something along those lines. He didn't want to be here, so we made sure that he had support. Obviously, there's public safety benefits, when we're not doing, repeat calls for service obviously lowers the need for officers so they can focus on other things, it lowers our jail capacity. We all realize that that can be an issue sometimes as well too. And it also gives the officers another option to help these individuals that is besides arrest. Obviously none of us want to see that either. Obviously we talk about opportunities for the program to expand, officer awareness. I met with the chief of police last week and his staff about making sure that they understand it's as simple as putting an app on your phone. You fill out the referral form and we take it from there. They don't have to do anything outside of that. We have those conversations. We are working with the hospitals to make sure that they understand the importance behind using the program as well. And we also want to work towards getting us, stabilized funding and evaluating a need for a dedicated position as this grows. It's not simply transportation. Obviously, we use it, it's for public safety, cost avoidance strategy, which is huge for all of us when we talk about a limited budget. I know myself's budget is very limited, so I'm sure the cities can, vouch for that as well too. And also, this gives us as agencies the ability to kind of collaborate together for the better of the community. Without partnership, Safe Return becomes, with continued partnership, it can become a permanent component of our safety strategy for the community. And there is myself and the other woman who could not join me this evening, Miss Georgia. She has a lot of great information about getting people into the right resources. She's the one that makes those phone calls to those family members and say, hey, we have this individual here, and verifying that part of it. I'm just the transportation piece behind that. I'm making sure we find the right bus tickets in whatever cost that may be and going from there. So after I met with the chief of police last week, he asked me to come to present to the council to explain how wonderful of a project this has been. We've kind of said this is kind of our best kept secret. We haven't told a lot of people about it, but it's still working within our community. These 45 individuals that we've had refer to us, 33 is a pretty significant success rate from starting since November. So.
Absolutely. Council?
I want to commend you on your efforts with this. Over the past 8 years, I've heard a lot of options and opportunities for the city to get involved with different ways to help these populations. And coming at it from the transportation viewpoint is fantastic. A lot of times there are people, their goal is not to be here, but they don't have another path. They don't have another track. And so for you to provide that to them is fantastic. And from November to now, having 45 referrals and being able to help 33 is a really fantastic thing. Do you know, just off the top of your head, how did that gentleman from Lake Charles, Louisiana get to this community in the first place?
He chose to walk away from a treatment facility. So he was here for a treatment program that
Sure.
he didn't agree with, and so walked away and ended up in Cape.
So a lot of times we as a community, we think so insular. We never think about us as a regional connector from all over the United States. And so there are people coming in and out of our community for exactly that purpose, for different types of treatments, for different types of medical care or psychiatric care or anything. And if one of them's unsustainable or somebody walks away from that treatment center, then they are here and they're on the streets, they are in the community. And so I'm thankful for this effort to really, help connect with those people and help them get back to where they want to be. So that is very commendable. Thank you for doing this.
He stole the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I have a question. The Georgia with the Labor of Love, is that a local organization?
Yeah, so
it's
she
based
is
here.
actually a community-based worker with another company here, and so she does this in her free time as well too. We both have jobs outside of this that we do full-time.
Is that the Georgia that also worked at the Grace?
Yes,
Shelter?
yes, yep, she worked with the warming shelter as
I
well.
saw her in action. I saw her in action, helping at the center at the church. And what she does, she sits there on a computer and she helps make sure that they have food stamps, tickets, and transportation, how to get counseling, how to help veterans. I mean, I watched her I worked a 4-hour shift for 4 hours. That's all she did with the 56 plus homeless that came in that night because it was freezing.
Talk about the warming.
At the warming center, yeah. And so I wondered if that was, I didn't know George's last name, but
Yeah.
I figured that was. So as these guys said, fantastic. There are God's children. We've got to figure out how to help them.
Yeah.
And thank
she's-
you, Jenny, for what you're doing.
Yeah, she's great. She really has a lot of connections and a lot of pieces that play into that factor.
Yeah, and that's something, as we've had lots of discussions, both, publicly in the meetings as well as out over the years, and then with PD and Chief Click and his team, it's always been a known issue to the exact same point that Chairman, or Councilman Preston was saying, is that we are a resource hub, so people come to our location for all of those, for healthcare, for if they have an accident, or if they need services or recovery, and then they have nowhere to go. And then we've always said it would be amazing to get them back. That, as you know, and what you're feeding right now is that, the biggest, probably the biggest variable for improving a person's life or their true recovery or their healing, if it's an injury, is being with their support system. And so getting them there, and you guys coming about with this idea is, I can't commend you enough. This is great. And it's exactly what you need to address the cause of the homelessness, not addressing just a symptom of it. It's how do we get people out of homelessness and get them to the support systems that they need. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys said it very well, and I won't try to repeat all that, except just to say thanks to the CTA,
Yeah.
to the Cape Police Department, and I know several other organizations, obviously. And I really, I think we all can appreciate the collaborative nature of all of this. I say all the time, and I'm in all these discussions that talk about how Cape is a regional hub, and usually we're talking about shopping or healthcare or, jobs and that sort of thing. But Cape is also a regional hub for social services and treatment facilities and all of these things that do bring people here for very important reasons. This obviously has been something that's been lacking for a long time and ends up, as you said previously, stranding people here. This is just, I think, brilliant. And obviously, it's very successful so far. I can't imagine how much free time you and Georgia are having. This sounds very, very busy, but thank you for all your efforts. This is, has to be profoundly impactful for at least 33 people.
It has been. I think that success story
And
piece
many
is-
more, I'm sure, to come, so,
It's a
Yeah.
life-changing opportunity for those 33 people.
yeah.
So Jenny, what's next and how can we help?
Awareness, we talk about that, we met with the chief of police and his team about making the officer aware of that piece of it. But, really, the need is demonstrated that, we need to think to the future of how do we keep funding this piece? We have a $15,000 grant. We've been smart with it. But that dedicated piece as well, too, it takes that community worker like Georgia Acts, like when she was at the warming center of, making those connections, sitting down one-on-one with those people and say, did you know this resource existed, or how do we help you get to that? Because a lot of times it's those conversations where, I know all about transportation, I could get them places, but she specializes in that community piece with getting them assistance, whether it be Medicaid or whatever. And so that's that future piece that we have to look at is, as a hub, as we keep saying, having a dedicated person to say, did you talk to this person? Can she help you, or can they help you piece?
Fantastic.
Is that 15,000, is that like a perpetual grant? Was it a one-time?
It's a one-time grant. One-time grant.
One time, so you can apply for it again, or is it just
I can
because you
apply for it
started up?
annually. You can apply
Okay.
for it once a year. So I actually was awarded that in '25, so I could apply for it again in '26.
Do you have a grant writer or somebody wrote, or is that you? You did that?
That's me.
Wow, that's tough to do.
Is,
In her
The
free time.
university has amazing grant writers, and so do the hospitals. They have grants all the time, so I would suggest maybe even reaching out and maybe getting some help from them, the ideals, because since that's all they do, and you do so many other things, they may have some ideals of additional grants.
Right, and that's kind of what we hope to eventually get to grow this is, like I said, we've had about 4 months involved in it, but we know that there's other opportunities for us too.
and is this Safe Return, is this a separate legal entity, or is this just a loosely formed program at this point?
It's just the program that's running.
Collaborative
underneath,
program?
Yeah.
Because I'm just picturing if you were able to formally turn it into a 501c3, the amount of people in this community that want to do something for this population, that this would be their way to give them a profoundly impactful, not just a warm bed, but give them a life-changing path forward, if you will. So I don't know, yeah, I'm sure you guys have kicked that around, but I feel like that would be a way to raise a significant amount of private money, so.
It's not all that difficult to do. done that. But it also opened up a huge amount of grants available once it's a non-for-profit. Be amazing.
Yeah. So we're looking at all those avenues. It just takes a little time. Right now, we knew that there was a need and we're helping with that.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
And thanks for being here tonight. We
Yes.
appreciate learning about this. Thank you. All right, next, moving on, we have one presentation tonight. I'll move down here. Good, okay.
Come up to the front, guys.
Oh, yeah, everybody, come on up. And if you haven't guessed by now, we want to honor one of our SEMO teams here tonight, actually two of our teams. I'll wait for everyone. Come on up, Mr. Barkey. Nope. No, come on up. Come on up. Well, folks, these are just a few members of SEMO's indoor track teams, the men and women's teams, and we invited them here tonight because the men and women indoor track teams just won the OVC championships. Yes, both teams. Both teams. And I just wanted to read a few stats for everyone. For the first time in program history, the SEMO, the Southeast Missouri track and field teams swept the Ohio Valley Conference Indoor Championships. The Red Hawks won the event on February 25th in Louisville, Kentucky. SEMO's women's team won its fourth straight OVC indoor title, and the men's team won its first OVC indoor title since 2022. Pretty cool that you both were able to do that together this year. Just like our Olympic hockey teams. Overall, the OVC indoor title marked the 11th for the SEMO women's team and 5th for the SEMO men's team. Eric Krumpecker was named both the OVC women's and men's indoor coach of the year. Krumpecker has been named OVC indoor coach of the year a total of 9 times between the men's and women's programs in his career. Nova Ojakanagos, no, I butchered that. Ojakengas. Thank you. Okay. Was named OVC Co-Track Athlete of the Year, and Anna Thomason was OVC Field Athlete on the women's side. Marshall Swadley on the won the OVC Male Athlete of the Year award for the SEMO men's team. And in all, SEMO had 10 event champions and broke 1 school record in the men's pole vault. So obviously, we don't have all of the members here tonight to properly applaud them, but thank you all for being here. This is super fun. We do have assistant head coach Ryan Lane, head coach Eric Krumpecker, and our SEMO's athletic director Brady Barkey here, and I would love for them to just say a few words, if you would. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Come on. Come on.
I think the only thing I'll say is, we of course take a lot of pride in our program and all of SEMO's athletics and how they've done, but something we really take a lot of pride in is bringing in athletes that are also from a local community, and I believe if I counted correctly, we have had 11 athletes on the men and women's programs that were Cape, Scott, or Bowinger County athletes. I think that's important that we're doing this with local kids and doing that with part of our community. So I always like to highlight that.
And, I can't say enough about this, all the kids I get to work with every day. They represent the school the town, the community, the best that you could ask for. You know, I couldn't ask for a better bunch of people to get to go hang out with every day and watch them run and jump and throw stuff. So, you know, I've got the easiest job in the world because they make my job easy. So this is a group that y'all can be proud of. Thanks for having us.
And I'll just say briefly, thank you, to the mayor and council and city manager for recognizing them. The accomplishment, as impressive as it is, it's one of those that oftentimes gets not enough attention because it's an Olympic sport that doesn't generate a lot of revenue and there aren't a lot of people that come and watch them. So I appreciate you taking the time because watching them compete over those couple of days, it really is impressive. The quality of athletes that we have, but also the quality of people and the way that in an individual sport, they all pull for each other. It's a testament to not only them, but the job that our coaches do. So thank you for taking some time to recognize them.
And I just want to mention one other thing to you athletes. I think Coach Lane, you mentioned it before. You do, whether you think about it a lot or not, you do represent Cape Girardeau, and I hear all the time, you know, people are familiar with Cape Girardeau only because they've heard of SEMO, or they see our teams out doing different things and all over the country. And so thank you all for your success and for your dedication to your sport, to your school. Ultimately, we're, as a city, just very, very proud of you guys, and we're thankful that you're here and that you're doing your thing. So thanks for being here. We're glad to be able to clap for you. I know indoor track isn't always the most public of the sports, but congrats, great job. Thank you all very much. Yeah. I don't know if we want to get are there any pictures or is there somebody? Okay. And I will say this too, after the pictures, you all are invited to leave if you'd like to flee this situation and get on with your day, but thank you for being here.
Hey, Mayor,
all right.
Mayor, before they go, SC.
There you go, yes. Excellent, all right. You guys need to squeeze in together so we can all fit. I don't know, Amanda, you might have to sit back.
You guys want to stand up behind him?
Please.
Or you guys?
All right, thank you guys.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Thanks for coming tonight.
Great.
That is fun. That's fun stuff. Okay, next, council, any communications or reports? Dan?
You know, I just, seeing this group of athletes, it just always reminds you, you know, if you get the chance to go out to an athletic event, please take it. Go and support these kids who come from all over the country or right here in our own backyard. They are in peak physical condition. They are doing the hardest thing that you can imagine, which is being an NCAA Division I athlete. And it's just a lot of fun. So get out there. Baseball season just started. Basketball season's concluding. There's always some kind of an event going on. So grab a ticket. They're not expensive. You know, take your family out and just go see what these athletes are doing in our own backyard. If you've paid attention to SEMO basketball, they've had a great season so far. The track team's had a fantastic season. Gymnastics, I have to admit, I went to one of my first gymnastics meets this season. I've never been to one before, and it is incredibly exciting, incredibly interesting to watch, and it's something that everybody should go out and participate in. Not every city has a D1 university in their backyard, so take advantage of it and enjoy it because there's always something entertaining going on.
Thanks, Dan. Anyone else? Reports? Okay. Several items for discussion tonight. First, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to appear as an advisory board applicant? Come on up. Introduce yourself.
Hello, Council. I am Amy McDonald. I have applied for the Cape JC Golf Advisory Board. I've lived in Cape for over 30 years and I have picked up golf in the last 5, and I'm probably at JC Golf Course 3 times a week. So I think I could make an impact. And so anyway, I have applied. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I'll just say I've worked with Amy on a number of things over many years, and yes, I'm sure you would be very effective on the board, so.
So, yeah, and as far as the safe returns, I think they should get involved with Community Foundation of the Ozarks here in Cape, and I will get them in contact with them.
Great.
And also, I have a grant writer that just is by job, so she consults with me, and so I'm also going to give her to.
Tell everyone what your day job is.
My day job is Cape Public School Foundation, so I raise money for Cape School District, the students, staff, and district community, so, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Anyone else wishing to come forward? No? Okay, thanks. Moving on, we will have the consent agenda review. Dr. Haskin.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, we added D3 for your review tonight. It's simply a request for us to execute a performance guarantee agreement with Forefront Holdings for improvements for Deer Run Estates Phase 2 in the city of Cape Girardeau. Mayor, that concludes the review.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move into regular session. This is a call to order with the roll call vote. Ms. Conrad.
Mr. Bliss?
Here.
Mr. Cantrell?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Kinder?
Here?
Mr. Presson?
Here.
Ms. Randall?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
All right, council, we have an agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adoption of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Agenda carries, thank you. We have 2 public hearings tonight. Is that right? Yeah. Yes. Sorry, don't have the label. All right, 2 public hearings tonight. First, I will open the public hearing to consider a petition for the formation of the Cape West Plaza Community Improvement District and to consider the proposed development plan for property located at 242 and 330 Seamers Drive and on the requested tax abatement under Chapter 353 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this public hearing? Mr. Pulley.
No.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Dr. Haskin. If you remember last council meeting, during the study session, we introduced the redevelopment of the old Sears building on Seamers Drive. The building had approximately 142,000 square feet still unused to this day. Tonight, we have representatives from Drury, Steadfast, and Mark Grimm who assisted with the redevelopment agreement with the incentive package. They are here to give a presentation and to answer any questions regarding the public hearing and the development.
Okay, thank you. Sure, thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Mike Prem. I'm a Director of Real Estate for Drury Development Corporation. I also have with me tonight Rachel Vincevich, our Real Estate Manager, and Shayla Meehan, who's with Steadfast City Economic and Community Development Partners. Steadfast is a third-party agency that we've engaged to help review the package, the incentive request that we're presenting this evening. So for those that aren't aware of our company, Drury Development Corporation is originally from the Cape Girardeau area. We're still a Missouri-based real estate and hospitality developer. We've developed a lot of hospitality, restaurant, retail properties in the Cape Girardeau area, including the properties near the intersection of I-55, William and Seamers that we're here tonight to discuss. The actual project location includes the properties south of the existing Target, so south to the now vacant Sears property. So it includes 242 Seamers Drive, which is the inline retail that's kind of immediately attached to the Target, and then the former Sears Grand at 330 Seamers. That property was originally developed for Sears in 2004. However, they vacated the property in 2019, and it's been vacant since, with exception of a few temporary retail operations for Halloween stores and things of that nature. As we discussed at the last meeting, the property is very unique in that the size of the building, it's just massive. Measurements, kind of depending on how you measure, the bulk of the box itself is about 142,000 square feet. But when you start adding on the former Sears Auto Center and some of the outdoor retail areas, it exceeds 150,000 square feet. Just a really oddly shaped property when it comes to, although it's square, I wouldn't say it's irregular, but it's irregular for retail purposes. Since the property has been vacant, there really wasn't any, about 4 years went by between the time Sears closed and when we decided to step in and purchase the property with our plan for redevelopment. We think that the opportunity that lies before us is really, we recognized again, the property was vacant, nothing really moving forward. We felt that there was still the need for additional junior box type retail space, and discussing that with potential tenants. We looked at the opportunity to subdivide the existing Sears box into smaller spaces for those types of tenants. And we think that, our overall goal is to kind of wrap that property into the existing Cape West Plaza. If approved by the council, we would plan to start work on these properties within the next several months. We believe that the time to complete the scope 1, which we would call the exterior enhancement of the existing Cape inline retail, that would be approximately 18 months. Scope 2, the larger scope, which is the Sears box, that's the bulk of the project. That would take up to about 3.5 years to complete. So that is going in, demolishing the exterior, working with tenants to formalize the dimensions for their retail spaces, and then going in and building that out and getting that ready for occupancy by those tenants. The total project investment we currently estimate is nearly $23 million. That includes the acquisition of the Sears property, but it does not include any acquisition or our ownership of the existing inline retail. The bulk of the scope really is, again, the Sears. The inline retail, that's just less than $1.5 million. Again, those dollars would be spent towards paint, some exterior reimaging, improving signage, so that's all consistent with what we plan to do at the Sears Grand Box. And then the other thing that I note is when we break out and we say that $5.5 million would be for tenant improvements, most of that is geared towards, well, all of it is for future prospective tenants, but that's really preparing those boxes for their tenancy.
Good evening, Shayla Meehan. So we do have, our next slide is a detailed outline of our proposed incentive request, but before that, we wanted to talk a little bit about the blight study that we completed for the proposed redevelopment area. So Chapter 353, real property tax abatement requires a blight finding in order to abate that incremental increase in assessed value, as it's defined under Chapter 353. And then although not required for a community improvement district, a blight finding does expand and broaden the eligible cost for reimbursement. So, for example, if there's a blight finding for a proposed SID boundary, demolition costs would be considered eligible. So Steadfast City completed multiple on-site inspections, confirming the proposed redevelopment area to meet the definition of a blighted area under Chapter 353 and under the SID Act. So that's been confirmed through various blighted conditions that meet social and economic liability. We pulled a couple examples from our blight studies. So deterioration of site conditions, there's mold and bacterial growth from water infiltration and roof leaks, mainly in the Sears building. There's a risk to public health and safety due to the presence of mold, inadequate fire safety systems that are not in place at the Sears, and then a predominance of, cracked pavement, deteriorated sidewalks, and roof damage on the inline retail as well. There's also been evidence of trespassing and crime, litter and graffiti. We've got an image of the tire marks, so reckless driving is occurring as well. There was even a recent police report of trespassing incident that caused damage to the Sears building. And then lastly, on the economic liability, so that is mainly, we looked at the past 10 years of assessed valuation for the redevelopment area, so that those two parcels, 242 Seamers and 330 Seamers Drive. And we compared that to the past 10 years citywide commercial total assessed valuation to demonstrate that it's not keeping pace with the rest of commercial development in the city. I think over the last 10 years, the city has seen a total assessment valuation increase of over 40%, whereas our proposed redevelopment area has only seen, I think on average, like 3.65% assessed valuation growth. So what that tells us is that the taxing jurisdictions from a real property perspective are not receiving tax revenue as it sits vacant and unoccupied and blighted. Okay, so in order to address and remediate those blighted conditions that we just covered and bring the property to its highest and best use, the developer is seeking a combination of incentive programs. The first being a Chapter 353 real property tax abatement, structured such that there's a 100% abatement in the first 10 years that is applied to the incremental increase in assessed value above the 2025 base. So an important distinction for that first 10 years is that under Chapter 353, you're able to have the base value just come from the land value because assessed value has land plus improvements. However, that's not what we are requesting. We will, I think in 2025, across the two properties, it paid about $195,000 in real estate taxes from both the land and improved value at the property. So we would see that the property would continue to pay that for the first 10 years. And then any incremental increase above and beyond that base assessed value would receive the 100% abatement. And then in the 15 years thereafter, seeking a 50% abatement that is applied to the total then current assessed value. So there would be no more base value factored in there. It would just be 50% that gets applied to the total assessed valuation of the property. In addition, developer is seeking a community improvement district that is authorized to levy a 1% CID sales tax for a 27-year period. And that is a sales tax that is applied in addition to the full sales tax rate. I think it's currently currently 8.475. So this would be any purchases or transactions that have taxable sales, the customer would be paying 9.475 in that example. Additionally, seeking to authorize a special tax assessment authorized under the Community Improvement District. And the special assessment, seeking for that to be roughly equal to the value of property taxes abated under that structure that I just outlined in 353. So with 353, the abatement basically sinks the taxes, but the SID assessment would then they would offset one another and basically bring the tenants back to paying effectively market rate taxes. The SID would not be allowed to pay anything above market rate. We have it outlined clearly in the SID petition and redevelopment agreement that because the appraiser is going to assess the value, and that's what the tax abatement will be applied to, and the SID assessment will be equal to. So we're at that time, and in any given year, the SID won't be able to assess above that. And then lastly, Chapter 100 sales and use tax exemption. So that's really an upfront cost savings for the developer. And that's basically just at point of sale, the subcontractors or contractors, any building material purchases that are made to construct the project would be exempt from sales and use tax. So in total, our current estimates project that the present value of all three of those incentive programs is about $9.73 million, or 42.39% of our total project costs. Total project cost being that $23 million that Mike just discussed on the previous slide. So I think an important distinction to make too with this incentive structure is that nearly 75% of the developer's request for incentives is derived from the SID 1% sales tax. So that's non-diverted tax revenue. It's above and beyond the full tax rate. So the city of Cape Girardeau will continue to receive city sales tax. So it's not redirecting any tax revenue that otherwise would occur if this was a tax increment financing request. And then lastly, the maximum reimbursement cap is worth mentioning. In the redevelopment agreement, the developer is proposing they would be capped at $11.5 million, excluding the Chapter 100 sales and use tax exemption. So right now, we currently estimate that the CID eligible expenditures are going to be at that $11.5. So the developer is not able to be reimbursed for any more than that. So if costs do happen to increase, that maximum reimbursement cap is in place to not over-incentivize.
Excuse me, that's including all of the incentives for the lifetime of the incentives.
Yes,
Did I say that right?
yes,
Yeah.
That is for the SID and for the 353.
Yeah.
Those two tools together
Together.
cannot exceed the 11.5.
Yeah.
So, so the proposed incentive request, that's really going to get the project over the finish line in order to remediate those blighted conditions. Again, bringing it to its highest and best use. It's obviously a strong location, and we think that once the project scope of work is complete, it's really going to be a benefit for both the tenants and then also the guests that do shop at Cape West Plaza. We also do estimate that once the project is complete and leased up, it could expect to, the city of Cape Girardeau could expect to receive $13 million in their sales tax revenue over the next 10 years. And about $7 million of that is derived from the new tenants to be located at the Sears. We believe this project will bring 175 full-time equivalents, which could create up to $7.5 million in annual new payroll, and also create 95 construction jobs.
So one thing that I wanted to make sure that the council was clear on, with our assumptions, we worked with Steadfast. They have access to a lot of kind of national and local market data as far as retail sales per square footage, and construction costs, and how many full-time equivalent jobs are generated from these type of projects. That's really the basis of our assumption. So we used, again, market rate data, and we relied heavily on a third-party firm to make sure that we felt that these assumptions that we're sharing with you are accurate, so that the city has a comfort level that they can trust what we're sharing with them. I think, for us, again, this was an opportunity to kind of take charge, take control of something that's next to a property that we own. Our goal is to make sure that the west side of I-55 along Seamers remains just an economic and retail kind of engine. The reinvestment in this center, we think that will aid dramatically in that. One of the council members at the last meeting mentioned that the Sears is referred to as the big blue box. And we were sitting there staring, looking at it just as you all were. And the current requests from the city to allow us to use these tools, we think will help us put together a project that we can take to tenants and then ultimately lease. So the need for the incentive package really comes 90% of it, 90+% of it is from the Sears. Again, we have this big box that's just not been maintained even by the prior owner, and they've done nothing on it since they left in 2019. It only continues to deteriorate. The design of the building was designed for their specific use. I tried for the last 2 years with no success to try and get tenants to accept the box in its current condition. I've approached tenants that we thought could maybe take the entire box, and we had no success. We tried to speak with a lot of the same tenants that we're currently speaking with, who really just came back to us and said, the dimensions, we want a minimum of 100 foot frontage along the north elevation for our storefront, and we don't want 365 feet of depth. Like, we can't pull our truck up to the back of it and unload and just kind of let our employees, leave the doors open without concern of our product being, walked away with by others. Everyone wanted immediate dock access and a reasonable storefront width. So a lot of our costs are towards, rehabilitating this kind of neglected building and trying to break it up so that these types of users will have interest and a comfort level that it'll fit their needs, and they'll be able to sign a lease and make money in the way that they want to make money. Again, we talk about inadequate building systems, existing loading docks, which I just touched on, the deterioration of the building. Again, these are all things that these are our goals in the redevelopment, is redeveloping, repurposing an existing building, kind of adapting it for a current use, and then incorporating it within the envelope of Greater Cape West Plaza and the Target anchored center. We would like to note one nuance in our application, is that the members of the council will notice that we submitted a petition for the creation of the Community Improvement District that was delivered to the city on February 13th. After discussions with the city, it was pointed out to us that there was a scrivener's error in the legal description for that district. The map of the district, which is still on this slide. So the map of the district in that petition showing the existing Cape West Plaza inline retail and the former Sears, that was accurate. But Mr. Pulley and city staff shared with us that, again, that error caused that depiction to actually shift up maybe 150, 200 feet. So the shape of the boundary was correct, but the location, it was just slid north. So that is the reason that we filed for the amendment to the petition. Oh, I messed something up here. And so we filed a new petition, but the only changing in that, again, was the legal description of the boundaries of the district. All of the other estimates, as far as estimates on sales generation, costs, all of that is the same as the prior application. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'm just going to jump out there and say, this is a very good presentation about tax incentives. Thank you very much for putting this together and presenting it the way that you stated it, because it really clearly lines out for everybody to see in the public and everything about tax incentives and how this aids in the development of nuisance properties within the city. Like I said at the last meeting, this is our giant fading blue block. And so this is our opportunity to not just leverage that piece of property, but actually see redevelopment in other parts of that adjacent property. And so this is a really great way to showcase those incentives. And it just really a nice thing to present tonight. So thank you guys very much for doing that. Overall, this is the type of project that I get excited about. This is the future of Cape Girardeau. This is how we keep people engaged in a dynamic economy of a town the size of Cape. And so we've got to engage in this type of development in order to move us forward, attract new retailers, and just get people involved in our economy. Like I said earlier, getting people out to go to SEMO basketball games, getting people out to shop in our stores. That's another incredibly important part of not just keeping people employed, but keeping the economy of Cape Girardeau churning and rolling. And so I'm very thankful that you guys have brought this together. The only request that I have, please no experimental exterior colors. We have all seen how blue has not held up in Southeast Missouri weather. And so let's not go with the experimental exterior colors. That would be helpful. As I fade off of this council and move on to other things, you know, that's just a parting piece of advice, because that blue on the interstate going 80 miles an hour just does not look well after 20 years. So that's all.
Certainly noted, and to date, none of the tenants that we're speaking with or our architect, I don't believe anyone has blue in their color palette.
Thank you.
So hopefully it's a shared goal.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just doing some quick math. For the ask of 9.73, you expect 75% of that to be achieved through the CID. So I was just looking at that. So if 75% of the 973 you're asking, that would generate through the CID 7,297,000 of it, leaving a balance for us of 2,432,000. That's just some quick math. But then I look over at what the expected proposed generation over a 10-year period is 13 million. So I'm not a math major, but that's a pretty good return on your investment from what we stand to gain over a 10-year period. Is that pretty accurate? Wouldn't you say?
That is correct. Yep. And when we say 75% of the present value of the request, that is coming from the 1% sales tax in addition. And I think in the first year of the SID in place, once it's fully leased up, I believe it's generating about 1 million in revenue of that 2.75 city sales tax. So.
And I think it's critical that people understand that CID, that comes from people that go in and shop.
Yes.
You know, that's not just, you're not just, you know, every citizen in Cape's not paying 1%. It's only those that go in and use, and hope everybody does, because it's, as Councilman Preston said, it's imperative for the success and vitality of our city. But I just think a project of that level and that amount, and that's our investment, is appreciate that. I think that's a great deal.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out that you all mentioned this, but to reiterate again, that this doesn't redirect any portion of the city's sales tax revenue, which, as everyone knows, our city government is very dependent on sales tax revenue. And anything we can do to increase sales tax revenue in the city to help pay for city services is very important. So we keep a big eye on that, and I think this is going to generate more sales tax revenue. So we can handle public
Right.
works, police, and all the other services that our citizens expect.
Right, that 7.25 million projected to be generated by the CID is just that incentive. It's not talking about the regular sales tax that
Correct.
is, right, right. You know, for any of these things, there's always a lot of questions in the public, and I feel like with these kinds of incentive questions and projects, I'm always trying to answer just a few extremely basic questions. One of which is, no, the city of Cape does not have a giant pot of money that we are giving to the developer. These are all incentives that basically your project has to earn. And a portion of that is then allowed to be used back for your project. And it's also dependent for the Chapter 353. It's dependent on that blight. I really appreciated all that you included in your presentation, and we've gotten a lot more about the blight report, many pages worth of that. But for this kind of project and for this kind of incentive, it is dependent on a blight designation. We've probably all heard people say, well, I've remodeled my store or my building recently, and I didn't get any, incentives. And my response is, well, first of all, is your property blighted? No, okay. And so you're not going to get a Chapter 353 incentive. And also, oftentimes other places don't ask, because the monumental task of redeveloping something like this is not taken on by many people, and for good reason. This is a giant project, and it's obviously it's taken you several years to put all this together and figure out how to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And we're appreciative of that.
Well, we're grateful for how receptive the city and the council has been for this project. I would, again, I guess just to expand upon that, we came out of pocket to purchase the property. We've spent more than $150,000 in consultants' fees for architects, structural engineers, to explore and make sure that this is a viable plan. We've been paying property taxes on it since we acquired it. We did not appeal the value when it increased in 2025. We wanted to maintain that 2025 year as the base rate on the 353 request. The directive from our owners was that it has to be a fair deal to the city. And we did not want to ask the city to give up anything that it already has right now, or really kind of anything in the future. The request from our perspective is really, may we please have your permission to utilize these tools and create this tax district? That was clear from us from our first meeting with the city, was that the importance of that sales tax revenue. And we did not want to divert that, and the city didn't want it diverted. So we had a shared goal. We looked at other incentive structures, and we realized that we could really get this done really with the SID, 75%, and the 353 just helps us get us over the line. So again, we really appreciate the council in recognizing our efforts to date, and certainly, again, we're happy to answer any other questions.
I just would like to say thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and since this is a public hearing, I would ask if anyone in the audience wishes to comment or raise a concern. Yes, ma'am.
So I had the opportunity to listen to you speak at the Democratic meeting at the public library.
I'm sorry, you're talking to me?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
One of your
You announced-
statements
Is it about-
was,
Could she announce her name and her address?
Yeah. you
my
do.
name is Catherine Plambeck, and my address is 1012 North Frederick Street, Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Perfect, sorry about that.
Ma'am, are you the one that registered to speak
Yes.
later on a topic not on the agenda?
Yes,
Okay, that will be later in the meeting?
I am aware. I'm actually asking a question in regards to this.
In regard to the,
Correct.
perfect, okay.
So, during your speech, one of your main things is, looking at budgets. You had said the accountant took a year in order to actually go through and figure out where the money was going. The other thing you stated after that was that the data shows that the sales tax income is flattening. So if it's flattening, how is redeveloping this property going to be beneficial if the tax rate and income from it is leveling out or dropping?
Okay. I would love for these folks to respond to that, but I will just answer that we have been discussing in the city and with our finance department that indeed sales tax revenue in the city of Cape has been flattening a bit. That's our projection. This project does not impact sales tax revenue to the city. The incentive is for property tax.
Yes,
The
but-
incentives they're asking for.
But the
So those are
question
separate.
is that if the sales tax revenue that the city is bringing in is flattening, how are we sure that this is going to instead generate more revenue for the residents to actually be going in and purchasing things or visitors to our city?
Well, I think the developers could, obviously, I think their interest in this project indicates that they believe they will make money on the project. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, so our project.
And I'm sorry, if you could come to the
I'm sorry.
microphone.
So our assumptions are based on the idea that we're going to be able to lease this building to retail tenants, and then they'll come in and generate sales tax, which will in turn generate more sales tax for the city. If the question is why the city is not able to include that now, is that because, again, we don't have any of the leases signed up with these tenants, and we won't be able to do that until we know that we have a project and we know that we can make this investment and give them a guaranteed delivery date, and then we can all move forward. So there's no kind of, dancing around the speculative nature of this project. We're making an investment with the intention, with a plan of bringing in new retail stores. But again, that's why we didn't come in with a request for tax increment financing, because we couldn't really guarantee what the sales are. These are best case, these are good faith estimates based on current market conditions nationally and locally. And we're the ones that are coming out of pocket on this investment. So again, that tax will be, the CID will be in addition to the existing sales tax. So if we're successful in generating leases and the tenants come in and generate more sales, the city gets its portion of the sales tax, and then we will collect 1% and then use that to reimburse eligible project expenses. Does that kind of help?
It does, but as a resident of Cape Girardeau, I know several people who are struggling just to afford their basic necessities. So if they're struggling to afford basic necessities and affordability is a real issue, how are individuals going to come up with the extra money to go shopping at these stores?
Well, they certainly have especially since they're at this project and in others around the city, this additional sales tax that this development is choosing to apply to itself. Sometimes there are people who choose not to go to those establishments because they know there is an extra 1% that the developer has chosen to place on their own retail.
Mayor, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
I would like to address the issue regarding sales taxes, because when you think about it right now, the question is, are we generating any sales taxes from that current location? The answer is no.
Correct.
We're collecting like no taxes at all. So one would opine that any improvements to that structure that will eventually materialize, that will allow for some sales taxes to come in so that we can increase that flattening, in my opinion, would be welcomed.
I respectfully disagree.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Absolutely.
question.
Thank you
and your
for
time.
taking my question.
Yep. Any other people wishing to speak on this? Yes.
My name is Karen Schleier. I live at 36 North Henderson. I was wondering if you were considering adding residential space to that. As a member of Cape Girardeau, a resident, I often go, my favorite hotel is Drury Suites. And when I go there, it's so wonderful to be able to walk to Walmart, walk to Target, and just walk to everything. And so for some reason, I don't know where this rumor started, but what I heard was that they were putting apartments into the Sears building, and I thought about it, thought that would be a great place to live. So it might fit in your part where you don't have, you have that way deep space and your retailer people don't want it. You might be able to build some homes there, and then people shop local, and there's a lot of shops there that they could shop at.
Mr. Prem, would you like to, do you have any?
Yeah, currently, we don't have any plans to develop residential on the property. Zoning, I
Yeah.
believe, requires retail zoning, retail.
Residential.
I'm sorry.
Residential,
Zoning
it's zoned
requires
commercially,
commercial
yeah.
uses.
It's,
And you can apply for
And-
variance, however.
But there are also operating easements and agreements with Target and then the other retailers in there. That would be the most significant prohibition. So we really think the highest and best uses for us, and then as far as the city's tax generation is retail.
Okay.
We
I
appreciate
just
the idea.
thought of that, yeah, maybe someone else could somewhere
Thank
near
you.
there could do that.
And thank you for your business.
Of course.
if there are no more comments or questions, okay, I will close this public hearing. And we will take up some of this further in the meeting. Next, I will open a public hearing to consider a request to rezone property located at 803 Independence Street from C1 General Commercial District to R4 Medium Density Multifamily Residential District. Mr. Oh.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
My name is Cabre Joe. I seek to acquire this land. This was, well, let me tell you a little bit about the property. It's about 8,000 square foot. I plan on putting a 1,900 square foot residence there. This is a project that me and my father started about 4 years ago. He started acquiring the money, figuring out the designs, everything that comes into play. I was working close with Ryan Shrimpling about it, and we found out, to my realtor's surprise and mine, that it was zoned commercial. We were like, what the hell is going on? So after all of that stuff was done, we had to kind of pivot a little bit, and I've been going through zoning, trying to find a way around this issue. I remember seeing the house there years ago that was on the land, and I always thought it was a very unique house. And I think the area needs something else unique there to kind of fill that space. It's been vacant since 2018. I believe it was a fire, and nobody's wanted it. So when I saw it, I was like, damn, perfect spot, perfect area, perfect size. Let me get that. Unfortunately, the sale is contingent on it being rezoned. This is something that I want to do for my kids, want to do for the community. That's the reason why the subdivision plot is named Q's Corner. All my children have the name that starts with Q. So did it for them. I have images here to show you guys exactly what it's going to look like. Roughly close here. I don't know. It's going to be something different and unique for the area, but it should fit in nicely. There's a lot right across the street from it that's also vacant. I believe the zoning covers that too, I'm not sure. But it won't interfere with anyone. Most people in the area, they are living in homes right now that are zoned commercial, which I was shocked by that too. I heard Dan Preston speak about the future of Cape. And one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people don't think for the future on the south side. They how do I say, they sit back and wait for the future to happen. So I want to be one of those people that are making moves and trying to uplift the community and show something different. I do community events organized every year. I've been doing that annually since 2014. And I just want to be an example of something different, and I think this is a huge step. My father, he challenged me to do this, and this is something that I'm hoping comes to fruition here soon, with you guys' help, okay? You have any questions about it? Or?
No, and we will take this up later in the meeting as well, but yeah, questions, comments?
Okay.
Thank you very much. And is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to or have a question about this? Okay, well, seeing none, I will close this public hearing. And we will move into the consent agenda for the night. Mr. Young, would you please go through the consent agenda?
Bill 2614, an ordinance accepting a permanent utility easement from C&L Quality Construction LLC for Lot 24 Rock Garden subdivision in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Yeah.
Bill 2614, an ordinance accepting a permanent utility easement from C&L Quality Construction LLC for Lot 24 Rock Garden subdivision in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Bill 2615, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute performance guarantee agreement with Forefront Holdings LLC for improvements for Deer Run Estates Phase 2 in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
All right, thank you. Council, we have a consent agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor then of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That agenda carries. Nothing removed from the consent agenda tonight. We have a number of new ordinances tonight. As always, we will have one of our staff members speak to the ordinance. There will then be a time for anyone in the public to make a comment. You'll have up to 3 minutes if you wish to do so, and then the council will take it up. So first, we have Bill 2616, an ordinance approving an amended and restated petition for the creation of a community improvement district, establishing the Cape West Plaza Community Improvement District as a political subdivision of the state of Missouri, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection therewith. This is the first reading. Mr. Pulley.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, Dr. Haskin, like you stated, this is the ordinance to approve the creation of the CID. As you heard during the public hearing, they presented the CID and the redevelopment plan to the council for the entire project. This is a good redevelopment project for the city. We are very excited about it, and staff recommends the approval.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment on this ordinance? Okay, seeing none then, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2616?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Council?
This is an exciting project, and I think we've stated it all a lot here in the past couple of meetings that we're excited for this to continue moving forward.
Thank you. I agree as well. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor then of Bill 2616, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Bill 2617 is an ordinance designating a certain tract of land in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri as a blighted area, approving the Cape West Plaza Development Plan, approving a redevelopment agreement in connection with the development plan, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection therewith. This is the first reading. Mr. Pulley.
Thank you again, Mayor. This is the ordinance to approve the redevelopment plan regarding the Sears building, and staff, again, recommends the approval of this ordinance.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment? Okay. Seeing none, then, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2617?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just want to take a moment that we thanked the developers earlier and all the work that you put into it, and the investment that you put into our community and in this highly visible property. But I also want to take an opportunity to thank staff who worked with you. And it sounds like in a very cooperative way, a very fruitful, productive way, and they do amazing work. And thank you, Mr. Poley and Ryan and the whole team that was involved. And I can't name everyone, but all of you guys. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? All right, all in favor then of Bill 2617, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Next is Bill 2618, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by changing the zoning of property located at 803 Independence Street in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri from C1 to C4. This is the first reading. Mr. Shrimplin. Oh, let's let Ryan come up and talk about, I like the enthusiasm, though. It's good.
So as Mr. Joe explained, this property has been vacant for several years. It's owned commercial. From a staff standpoint, it'd be very challenging to develop that property for commercial. It sits about 4 or 5 feet above the street. It's very small. And due to the city's code requirements for developing property for commercial development, it just would not work. So he's got a very good project. He approached us about it. We worked with him on looking at what it would take to make it happen. And so the rezoning is the first step of that.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to further comment? No? Okay. He said, Mr. Shrimplin said it all. Okay, well, seeing none, council, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
2618, yes. All right, was there a second?
Second.
Okay. Further discussion?
I just wanted to thank Mr. Joe for this project. I remember that was a very sort of stately old home that used to sit on that piece of property, and I believe it was blue. What's
up with the blue? Man, come on.
And
Back to blue.
but it was a neat old house, and it caught fire. And so then, obviously that was taken down. And whenever you look at these city infill lots, you always do question, and Ryan will say it, it's hard to build on a city lot because it's smaller, and this one is elevated a little bit. But, we lost a really interesting older home whenever that fire took place. But what you're looking to bring back is another really interesting modern home. And that is the modern, face of living in the city of Cape Girardeau. So thank you for this project. It takes a lot of creativity to look at a lot like that and think creatively like that. But this is really an excellent thing because it was it's always a bummer whenever you lose an older historic property like that. But it's wonderful to see this type of a building being brought back into the middle of the city of Cape Girardeau.
I drive by that lot all the time and the lot across the street as well. And it's amazing. It's just seeing the rendering, that's unbelievable. And I can't wait to drive by and see that. So just like we thank the developers on the earlier project, I thank you guys for investing in our community as well. Thank you.
All right, any further comments? All right, all in favor then of Bill 2618, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations. We've got more though for that property. Bill 2619, an ordinance approving the record plat of Q's Corner subdivision. This is the first reading, Mr. Shrimplin.
So this is the plat that goes along with the rezoning of the property we've been talking about. There's a lot line that runs through it. So under the building code, you can't build a building across a lot line. So this would remove the lot line, replat it as one lot so that he can build the home.
Okay, anyone in the audience wishing to comment there? Seeing none, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2619?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of Bill 2619, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Bill 2620, an ordinance approving the record plat of Broadview on the Hill. This is the first reading. Mr. Shrimplin.
This is a property on Broadview Street, South Broadview Street. It's 2 lots right now. The developer wants to reconfigure it. They've got a proposed development on one of the lots, and the other lot will be a future development.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wishing to comment? Seeing none, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2620?
So moved.
Second. Oh, yeah, 2620, I'm so sorry. Yes, a first and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of Bill 2620, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Bill 2621, an ordinance approving the record plat of Deer Run Estates, Phase 2. This is the first reading.
This one has been long in the waiting. This is the second phase of Deer Run Estates located on Hopper Road and Old Hopper Road. There was an ownership change that resulted in quite a delay, and they've been working on putting in the public improvements other than sidewalk and streetlights, which are part of that performance guarantee that Dr. Haskin talked about earlier. So this will create 28 new single-family residential lots.
Okay. Anyone in the audience wishing to comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2621?
So move.
Second.
Second, any further discussion?
I would just like to say, since that's very near where I live, that I go by that area all the time, and I'm looking forward to seeing it developed.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, council, all in favor of Bill 2621, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And lastly, we have Bill 2622, an ordinance approving the record plat of Blank's second subdivision. This is the first reading.
This plat re-subdivides several tracts of land located at the northwest corner of South Sprague Street and Highway 74 for a proposed development.
Okay, anyone in the audience wishing to comment? Okay, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2622?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor then of Bill 2622, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. We don't have any appointments tonight, no other business. We did have one person register to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda. That person is Catherine Plambeck. I will just remind everyone that when folks register, pre-register to speak at our meeting, they have up to 3 minutes to do so. It is not a time for the speaker to have discussion with the audience or even with the council. We are here, though, to hear of your concerns. And so that's what this time is for. So if Ms. Plambeck would choose to come forward.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Plambeck, and as I stated before, I reside at 1012 North Frederick Street in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, within Ward 1. I'm here to advocate against the City Council of Cape Girardeau entering into any 287G agreements with the Federal Department of Homeland Security. I would like to start by acknowledging that being an undocumented immigrant in the United States of America is illegal because those individuals are committing a civil infraction. I'm not here to debate federal, state, or city laws and ordinances. I am here to discuss and make a statement against 287G Memorandum of Agreements. 287G is specifically a reference to the section of the Immigration and Nationality Act that offers a program that creates a fusion agency of state and local law enforcement to act as an immigration and customs enforcement officer. The Department of Homeland Security advertises this program as a way to enhance public safety through identification, enforcement, and execution of warrants. Each of the aforementioned categories directly relate to a specific MOA model. There are advertised incentives for the agencies that sign up with the task force model in particular. As of September 8th, 2025, I have experienced fear and anxiety every time I go to leave my home. Due to the ruling the Supreme Court of the United States handed down in Nome versus Vasquez Perdomo. The decision allows ICE authorities to resume detentions of alleged undocumented immigrants through racial profiling based on relevant factors when determining reasonable suspicion. Those include the use of appearance, language, occupation, as well as the location of the individuals when in contact with ICE officials. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, has legally normalized broad assumptions about who looks or sounds suspicious through the implementation of racial profiling. My family and I, as well as many other community members, are directly affected with this ruling, and it creates an immediate concern for our public safety. As a Native American citizen of the United States, I and many other citizens that fit these dichotomies should not have to be subjected to such government-enforced racism. No one should have to endure the disenfranchisement associated with stereotypes from the federal, state, or local government officials. As it stands, the state of Missouri Governor Kehoe has already committed 15 Missouri National Guard service members to aid in administrative functions with DHS and ICE. There are also already 47 Missouri state. Thank you for your time.
Just a wrap-up statement.
I do. I
Please
have
finish.
less than 30 seconds left.
I'm sorry?
To finish.
Yeah.
There are also already 47 Missouri state and law enforcement agencies that have signed MOAs with DHS. There are amongst 1,400 MOAs across the nation. This continuously updated information can be located on the federal government's website, ice.gov. As a concerned United States citizen and mother and representative of this community, I urge the City Council to not enter any of the aforementioned agreements. The City Council were to consider a 287G MOA, I request the City Council to serve notice of a public hearing prior to entering the MOA.
We thank you for your time and
Thank you.
for your comment. Thank you. With that, we are done with our agenda and our meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all for being here and for your time.
Yes. Sure.